Constitutional amendments. First Constitutional Amendment Act 1951 added ninth schedule to the protect the land reform and other laws included for the judicial review. Second Constitutional Amendment Act 1952 reduced in the scale of the representation in the Lok Sabha by the providing that one member could present even more than 7,50,000 persons. Third Constitutional Amendment Act 1954 empowered the parliament to the control the production, supply, the distribution of the foodstuff and the cattle. Fourth, 1955 made the scale of the composition given in the lieu of the compulsory acquisition of the private property beyond the security of the court. Fifth Amendment Act 1955 empowered the president to the fix time limit for the state legislature to express their view on the proposal central legislature affecting the areas, boundaries and names of the state. Sixth Amendment Act 1956 include a new subject of the union list, i.e. tax on the sale and purchase of the goods in the course of the interstate trade and commerce and the restricted the state power in the regard. Seventh Constitutional Amendment Act 1956. This Constitutional Amendment Act was the board to the give effect recommendation of the State Recognition Commission. 8 Amendment Act 1960 extend the reservation of the seat for the SC/ST and the special representation for the Anglo-Indian in the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly for the period of the 10 years. Ninth Amendment 1960 facility the cession of the Indian territory of the Baiburi Union located in West Bengal to the Pakistan as provided into the Indo-Pakistan Agreement 1958. 10th Amendment 1961 incorporated Dadra Nagar Haveli in the Indian Union. 11th Amendment Act changed the procedure of the election of the Vice President by the providing for an electoral college instead of a joint meeting of the two houses of the parliament. 12th Amendment Act 1962 incorporated Goa, Daman and Diu in Indian Union. 13th Amendment 1962 gave a statue of a state to Nagaland and made special provision for it. 14th Constitutional Amendment Act 1962 incorporated Pondicherry in the Indian Union. 15th Amendment Act 1963 increased the retirement age of High Court judge from the 60 to 62 years. 16th Act 1963 include the severity and integrity of the form of the other affirmation to be the subscribed by the constant the legislation member in the legislature, minister, judge and the CAG of India. 17th Amendment Act 1964 prohibited the acquisition of the land under the personal clarity unless the market value of the land is paid as compensation. 18th Amendment Act 1966 made it clear that the power of the parliament to the form new state also they include a power to the form a new state of the union territory by uniting a part of the state or union territory to the another state of union territory. 19th Amendment Act 1966 abolished the system of the election tribunal and the vested the power to the hear election. 20th Amendment Act 1966 validated the certain appointment of the district judge in the UP which were declared the void by the Supreme Court. 21st Amendment Act 1967 includes Sindhi as the 15th language in the 8th schedule. 22nd Amendment Act 1969 facilitated the creation of a new autonomous state of the Meghalaya within the state of the Assam. 23rd Amendment Act 1969 extend the reservation of the seat for the SC/ST and the special representation for the Anglo-Indian in the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly for the period of the 10 years. 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971 affirmed the power of the Parliament to amend any part of the Constitution, including the fundamental rights. 21st Fifth Amendment Act 1971 cultural the fundamental right to the property. 26th Amendment Act 1971 abolished the privileges and the privileges of the former rules of the princely state. 27th Amendment 1971 empowered the administrator of the certain union territory to the promulgate ordinance. 28th Amendment 1972 abolished the special privileges of the ICS officer and empowered the parliament to determine their service condition. 30th Amendment 1972 did away with the provision which allowed the appeal to the Supreme Court in a civil involving an amount of the 20,000 and the provide instead that the appeal can be filed in the Supreme Court only if the case involves a substantial question of the law. 31st Amendment 1972 increased the number of the Lok Sabha seat from 525 to 545. 32nd Constitutional Amendment made a special provision to satisfy the appreciation people of the Telangana religion in Andhra Pradesh. 33rd Amendment Act 1974 provides that the resignation of the member of the parliament in the state legislature may be accepted by the speaker chairman only he is satisfied that the religion is voluntary or genuine. 34th Amendment Act 1974 include the 20 more land tenure and the land reform acts of the various states in the ninth schedule. 35th Amendment Act 1974 terminated the protection statute of the Sikkim and the conferred it the state of and associate the state of the Indian Union. The 10th schedule was added laying down the terms and the condition of the association of the Sikkim with the Indian Union. 35th 36th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 made Sikkim is a full-fledged state of the Indian Union and omitted the 10th schedule. 37th Amendment Act 1975 provided the Legislative Assembly and the Council of the Minister for the Union Territory of the Arunachal Pradesh. 38th Amendment Act 1975 empowered the President to clear to the front proclamation of the national emergency of the different grounds Millenary. 39th Amendment Act 1975 placed the dispute relating the President, Vice President, Prime Minister and the Speaker beyond the scope of the judiciary. They are to be decided by the such authority as may be determined by the Parliament. 40th Amendment Act 1976 empowered the Parliament to specify from the time to time the limit of the territorial waters, the constitutional shape and the executive economic zone and the Maritime Zone of India. 41st Amendment Act 1976 raised the retirement age of the member of the State Public Service Commission and the Joint Public Service Commission from the 60 to 62 years. 42nd Amendment Act 1976. It is also known as the mini conjunction. It was an act to give effect to the recognition of the Swan Singh Committee. 43rd Amendment Act 1977 restored the judicial of the Supreme Court of the High Court respect of the judicial review on trade. 44th Amendment Act 1978 empowered the President to send back once the advice of the Cabinet for the Constitution, but the recognition advice to be the binding on the President. 45th Amendment extend the reservation of seats for the SC/ST, the special representation for the Anglo-Indians in the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly for a further period of the 10 years. 46th Amendment Act 1982 enact the state adds to the plug loopholes in the law and realize sales tax dues. 47th Amendment Act 1984 include the 40 Land Reform Act of various states in the ninth schedule. 48th Amendment Act 1984 facilitates the extension of the president rule in Punjab beyond 1 year without meeting the two special conditions for the such extension. 49th Amendment Act 1984 give a constitutional city to the Atmosphere District Council of the Tripura. 50th Amendment Act 1984 empowered the Parliament to restrict the fundamental rights of the person employed in the intelligence organization and the telecommunication system set up for the armed force of the Intelligence Organization. 51st Amendment Act 1984 provide for the reservation of the seat in the Lok Sabha for the ST in Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Mizoram as well as in the Legislative Assembly of the Meghalaya and Nagaland. 52nd Amendment Act 1985. This amendment popularly known as the Anti-Defamation Law. 53rd Amendment Act 1986 made the special provision in the respect of the Mizoram and the fixed strength of its assembly at a minimum of 40 members. 54th Amendment Act 1986 increased the salaries in the Supreme Court and the High Court judge and enabled the Parliament to change the future by an ordinary law. 55th Amendment Act 1986 made the special provision in respect of the Arunachal Pradesh and fixed the strength of its assembly at minimum of 30 members. 56th Amendment Act 1987 fixed the strength of the Goa Legislation Assembly at the minimum of 30 members. 57th Amendment Act 1987 reserved seats for the ST in the Legislative Assembly in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Nagaland. 58th Amendment Act 1987 provide for the authoritative text of the constitution in a Hindi language and give the same legal sanctity to the Hindi version of the constitution. 59th Amendment Act 1988 provide for the declaration of the national emergency in Punjab on the ground of the internal disturbance. 16th Amendment Act 1980 increased the selling of the tax on the prohibition trades and callings and employment for the 250 per annum to the to 500 per annum. 61st Amendment Act 1989 reduced the voting age from 21 year to the 18 year for the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly election. 62nd Amendment Act 1989 extend the reservation of the seat for the SC/ST and the special representation for the Anglo-Indian of the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly for the period of the 10 years. 63rd Amendment Act 1989 repealed the change of the 59th Amendment Act 1980 in relation to the Punjab. In word of the Punjab was bought at per the other state in respect of the emergency provision. 64th Amendment Act 1990 facilitated the extension of the president rule of the Punjab up to a total period of the 3 years and 6 months. 65th Amendment Act 1990 provide for the establishment of the multi-member National Commission for the SC/ST in the place of the Special Officer for the ST and ST. 66th Amendment Act 90 include the 55 more land. Ha. 66th Amendment Act 1990 include 55 more land reform the act of the various state in the ninth schedule. 67th Amendment Act 1990 facility in the extension of the president rule in Punjab up to a total period of a 4 year. 68 Amendment Act 1991 facility the extension of the president rule in Punjab up to the total period of a 5 year. 69 Amendment Act 1991 accordance of special states of the Union Territories. Delhi by the design it is the national capacity territory of it Delhi. 17th Amendment Act 1992 provide for the include in the member of the Legislative Assembly of the National Capacity Territory of Delhi and Union Territory of the Pondicherry in election college for the election of the president. 71st Amendment Act 1992 include the Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali language in the 8th schedule. With this, the total number of the scheduled language increased to 80. 72nd Amendment Act 1992 provide for the reservation of the seat for the ST in the Legislative Assembly Tripura. 73rd Amendment Act 1992 guaranteed the constitutional state and production to be the Panchayat Raj institution. 74th Amendment Act 1992 did the constitutional statute of the protection to the urban local bodies. 75th Amendment Act 1994 provide for the establishment of the rent tribunal for the adjustment of the dispute with the respect to the rent, its regulation and the control and tenancy issue, including the rights, title, and interest of landlords and the tenants. The 75th Amendment Act provide for the establishment of the rent tribunal for the adjudication of the dispute with the respect to the rent regulation and the control and tenancy issue, including the rights, title, and interest of the landlords and the tenants. 76th Amendment Act 1994 include the Tamil Nadu Reservation Act 1994, which provided for the 69% reservation of the seats in education institute of the postal state service in the ninth schedule to protect if from judicial review. 1992 Supreme Court ruled that the total reservation should not extend the 50%. 17th 7 Amendment Act 1995 provide for the reservation in promotion and in government job for the SC/ST. This is amendment fulfilled the Supreme Court ruling with the regard reservation promotion. 78 Amendment Act 1995 include the 27 more lands reform act of the various state in the ninth schedule. With this is the total number of the act is the schedule increased to the 282, but the last entry is number of 284. 79th Amendment extend the reservation of the seats for the SC/ST is a special representation for the Indian in the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly for the period of the 10 years. 18th Amendment Act 2000 provide for the alternative scheme of the devolution of the revenue between the center and the state. This was enacted on the basis of the recommendation of the 10th Finance Commission, which has a recommendation that out of the total income obtained from the central tax and the duties, 29% should be distributed among the state. 81st Amendment Act 2000 empowered the state of the consider the unfilled reservation vacancy of a year as a separate class of the vacancy to be the filled up in any succeeding year of the year. Such class of the vacancy are not be the combined with the vacancies of the year in which they are being the filled up the determining the calling 50% reservation on the total number of the vacancy of the year. In brief, this amendment ended the 50% selling on the reservation backlog vacancy. 82nd Amendment Act 2000 provide for the making of the any provision in the favor of the SC/ST for election in the qualifying marks in the examination, lowering the standard of the evaluation for the reservation in matter of the promotion to the public service of the central and the state. 83rd Amendment Act 2000 provide that no reservation in panchayat need be the made for the SC/ST. Arunachal Pradesh, the total population of the state is tribal and there are no SC. 84th Amendment Act 2000 extend the ban on the reduction of the state in Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly for the another 25 years. 85th Amendment Act 2001 provided for the cancellation sanitary in the case of the promotion by the virtue of the rule of the reservation for the government servant belong to the SC/ST with retrospection effect from the June 1995. 86th Amendment Act 2000 made the elementary education fundamental rights. The newly added Article 21A declared that the state shall provide free and the compulsory education to the children of the age of the 6 to the 14 years in such manner as the state may determine. 87 Amendment Act 2000 provide for the reduction and the rationalization territory constitution in the state of the basic of the population figures of 2001 census and not 1991 census as provided earlier by the 84th Amendment Act 2001. 88 Amendment Act 2003 made a provision for the service tax. 89th Amendment briefed the arrest while combination National Commission for the Scheduled Caste and the Scheduled were into two separate bodies, namely National Commission for the Scheduled Caste and the National Commission for the Scheduled Tribes. Both the commission consist of the chairperson, vice chairperson, and three other members. They are appointed by the president. 19th Amendment Act provide for the maintaining the erstwhile representation of the scheduled tribe and the non-scheduled tribe in the Assam Legislative Assembly from the Bodoland Territory Area District. 91st Amendment. The total number of the minister, including the Prime Minister and the Central Council of the Minister, shall not exceed the 50% of the total strength of the Lok Sabha. 92nd Amendment Act 2003 include four more language in the eight schedule. They are Bodo, Dogri, Mithali, and Santhali. With this is the total number of the constitutional recognition language increased to 22. 93rd Amendment Act 2005 empowered the state to make special provision for the special educational backward class or the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes in the educational institute, including the private educational institute. 94th Amendment Act 2006 Bihar from the obligation of the having a tribal welfare minister and the extend the same provision to the Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. 95th Amendment extend the reservation of the seats for the SC, ST and the special representation for the Anglo-Indian in the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly for the period of the 10 years. 96th Amendment substituted Odia and Oriya. Consequently, the Oriya language is the 8th schedule shall be pronounced as Odia. 97th Amendment Act give a constitutional instead of the protection to cooperative societies. In the context, it made for the following three changes in the Constitution. 98 Constitution to empower the governor of the Karnataka to the take step to develop the Hyderabad Karnataka religion. 99th Constitutional Amendment it provide for the establishment of the National Judicial Commission. 100 Constitutional Amendment. This amendment is a land boundary agreement between India and Bangladesh. 101 Constitution Amendment Act 2016 Good and Service Tax has been committed with the enact of the 101 Constitutional Amendment Act 2016 on the 8th September 2016 subsequent notification. The Constitution 102nd Amendment Act the bill seeks to give constitutional status to the National Commission for the Backward Classes. It seeks to insert new Article 338b in the Constitution, which provide for the NCBC is mandate, composition, function, and the various officers. Instead, a new Article 352a, which empowered the President to the notify list of the socially educational backward class of the state and union territories. 103rd Amendment it turns to the fundamental rights article 5060 it provide for the advancement of the economically weaker section of the society. A big 1000 government job and the college seat will now reservation people outside the high income bracket. 104th Amendment the Indian Constitution provides a reservation to SC/ST representation in a Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly. This reservation was provided for 70 years. It has been extended to 8 years till 2025 January 2020. Anglo-Indian reservation has been removed. Thanks for the watching.